Okay, so in this sub-lesson, we're going to introduce you to Power BI licensing. But first, we're going to focus on individual licensing needs first. Okay, so starting at the very top there, what you will first need is the Power BI desktop. That is a free download from the Microsoft Download site, and we'll show you where to get at that once we move into a subsequent sub-lesson. You will take the Power BI desktop and install that onto your machine or some type of machine somewhere within your environment so you can go ahead and do work. At this point in time, the Power BI desktop is the richest environment for doing data acquisition, cleansing, doing your modeling, and building reports out. You can do some of that in the Power BI service, but we're going to focus on the desktop as being the primary environment where we do our development, especially around this course here. So keeping in mind that is a free download. We want to make sure this is all very clear here. So you'll go ahead and get that installed on your machine. The second thing we're going to consider is the Power BI service. So when you take your work and eventually publish it into the Power BI service, licensing will start to matter here. So you will either have no licensing inside of Power BI, or as an individual, you'll be assigned a free license or a pro license, right? So just keep that in mind as we move through the next slides here. Okay, so the next thing we want to focus in is the workspace. So when you take your work from the Power BI desktop, you will then look to publish it into a workspace. So in this class here, we're going to focus on publishing into what's called My Workspace, which is your personal sandbox for doing work. And that workspace may either be in premium capacity or non-premium capacity. And this is significant because depending on where the work is actually published, it's going to influence the type of licensing that people are going to need to actually consume your work. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this onto a diagram now. All right, so I've added a couple extra annotations into the Power BI high-level architecture diagram here. On premise, you're going to have your Power BI desktop, which you download. It's a free download, and you'll likely put on your desktop or laptop or whatever machine you're going to work on. Then what we're going to do inside the Power BI desktop is we're going to acquire data from various sources. We're going to get our data into a report-ready state. We're going to build some reporting, and then we're going to take our work and publish it. So when we go through that publish process, we will make a decision as to what workspace that work goes into. And the type of workspace that is will determine the type of licensing, once again, that people need to actually go ahead and consume your work. Okay, so let's go over to this matrix here, which tries to explain this. And this is from the Microsoft website, as you see below, as a source. Okay, so first scenario, we have a free Power BI license. And you publish your work into non-premium capacity. So maybe you as an individual have a free license and you publish your work into My Workspace. And this is a very common situation as you're learning Power BI. So in this case, you're using a personal sandbox where you can create content for yourself and interact with that content. A free license is a great way to try out the Power BI service. You can't consume content from anyone else or share your content with others. Okay, so that's the first one. From a pro perspective, if the content is in non-premium capacity, you can collaborate with premium per user and pro users by creating and sharing that content. Okay, so if you have a free license and the content is published into premium capacity, we can interact with content assigned to premium capacity and shared with you. Free, premium per user, and pro users can collaborate without requiring the free users to have pro accounts. Okay, so that's another one. And lastly, if you are a pro user and the work is sitting in premium capacity, we can collaborate with free, premium per user, and pro users by creating and sharing content. Okay, so that's a great table matrix that actually shows all this. Let's go ahead and take a look at on a scenario through this diagram. Once again, this is from the Microsoft website. Okay, so you are a user on the left-hand side there. And this user, being you have a pro license. So you're doing some design work. And now you have to make some choices about where you're going to go ahead and publish that work. So you take your works and publish it into Workspace A, which is in shared capacity. If you go ahead and publish that work into Workspace A, which is in shared capacity, you can share that work with users that have a pro license. Free users will not be able to access that work. If you're a user with a pro license and you publish your works into Workspace B, which is in premium dedicated capacity, you can then share that work out to users that have pro licenses or users that have the free license. Okay, so hopefully between the table matrix and this visualization here, you can get a grounding in what the licensing model looks like inside of Power BI. It's not that complex, but it does take a little bit of getting used to, and it is part of some architectural discussions that you'll have in your organization or may have already had. Okay, that brings us to the end of this sublesson.